We're doing a lot of work around here today. Well, the last few days actually, we've been clearing out greenhouses, polytunnels, getting the place ready. Man, I'm desperate to get my plants out into the greenhouses. It's getting very, very difficult to maintain them in there. Temperatures are good, but big problem we have is VPD, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. It's quite an important aspect I don't think I've ever actually talked about on my channel before, but we'll get into that. But first, let's go get some seed trays and get them potted up. That's definitely ready to go. They're looking lovely, but yeah, let's go and get them potted up. So changing things up a little bit this year. I am potting up from seed tray here in Big Chump rather than Little Chump, which is what I normally do. Now, the main reason for that is because I'm testing something out. When I get to final potting, normally I do it out here, use the cement mixer like you see back there, and a few other little bits and pieces, like I have a massive plasterer's tub that I use to dump all the mix into, and then I lift that tub up onto a table and then I pot up from there. It's back-breaking work, and doing that over and over and over is not great. I've come up with a way that hopefully is going to simplify it a little bit, but I do need to be doing it inside here. And that'll all be revealed in about a month's time when we do the final potting up. Greenhouses are looking amazing. I had some help from my cousin, so thank you so much, Tony and family. You guys were amazing. We got this done pretty quick, clearing it out, but then it was the cleaning up time, and that's scrubbing down all the platforms, all the glass, and then disinfecting it, scrubbing it down one more time, disinfecting it one more time, and yeah, everything is nice and sparkling clean in there now. By the way, if you guys haven't seen SeedsIO lately, I would go check it out. I have made a ton of changes, a lot of improvements, and a little sneak peek. There is an Android app coming up very soon, which is going to make life much easier for you guys. But essentially, SeedsIO, I'm still using it to track everything. So this is seed tray number T9. So essentially, I'm just going to be potting these up and allocating them a number. So this one down here is a California Wonder, so we'll mark that with number 389, and then I just stick that into the seed cell. So when I'm coming to pot this up, I just pop that out and I already know what number it is. So the one above that is also a California Wonder, and that's going to be 264. Okay, let's talk about VPD, or vapor pressure deficit. This isn't as complicated as it might sound, but it is hugely important for the health of your plant. So what is it? VPD is the difference between the amount of water that air can hold versus the amount of water that's actually in the air, or humidity. VPD is measured in kilopascals, so kPa, and you're aiming for around about 1 kPa in terms of VPD, but as with all things, it does depend. When your plant is younger, it can't pull up as much water as quickly because the root system isn't as well developed as later on in the season. So therefore you need a lower VPD. Lower VPD meaning higher humidity level. There's less capacity in the air to take on more water. So the plants aren't going to be transpiring as much. Whereas when they're older, bigger plants, you want that VPD to be higher, so there's more capacity in the air for it to release as much water as possible, so that it can be drawing up water and nutrients and growing a gorgeous plant. So you're going to be changing that through the life cycle. For a seedling, you're aiming for about 0.4 to 0.8 kPa. As it gets older, you want to go up to maybe 1.2 kPa, maybe a little bit higher than that even. It doesn't have to be complicated to measure this. I actually give it to you for free. Go check out SpicyIoT. The graphs that you're seeing up on the screen, those are from SpicyIoT. I do the calculations for you. You just need a simple humidity and temperature. DHT22, which costs pennies, will do the job just fine. But I'll go into that in more detail in another video dedicated to SpicyIoT and all the cool features that it provides. But essentially, go onto that platform, get your sensors reading in there, and yeah, you can start monitoring for this. If you have an UbiBot device, I've built in integration into my platform. I've also built an integration for UbiDots, and yeah, there's a few other platforms in there as well. But go check it out, SpicyIoT, and I'll help you out. Well, that's the last plant potted up from that tray. As is always the case, this took me a little bit longer than I expected because I got distracted with a bunch of other things that need to get done. But we've got one tray done. I've still got another one to do. I'm probably going to have to do that tomorrow because we are starting to lose light. But a bigger job that I need to do now is go and take some of my bigger plants from the Germinator, move them into Little Chump, because I need to make some space for these little guys. These are not quite ready to be outside inside the Little Chump. The temperature's dipped just a little bit too low. So good opportunity for us to go and see what's going on inside the Germinator and see how the plants are getting on. Let's get going. So the plants are doing really nicely, but they are hitting limits now with the size that some of them are getting. I mean, look at that beautiful thing right there. That is a CC habanero fire. That's one of my own breeds. Ugh. Fried chicken. These over here have been recently potted up. Actually, these are the last ones I potted up, and still need to be in here for a little bit longer just to get themselves fully established. The roots aren't going to be poking out just yet, but a couple of weeks and these guys will be just fine. That's desperately in need of some nutrients. We are running low. These, oh, what is this one? The root system is definitely going to be poking out the bottom. Yep. Let's check what it is. Don't fall over. Yeah, you can see that definitely is in need of some nitrogen. I do avoid feeding them. Yeah, another warthog, actually, one of mine. I do avoid feeding these too much at this stage because I want those root systems to be massive, fully developed, partly because of what I was talking about before with the VPD thing, but also just the bigger the root system, the quicker it can take up nutrients and the quicker it will grow. That's looking lovely. Definitely needs some nitrogen out. Okay, I'm going to go and pick a few of these. Ooh, wait, one more. Let's have a look at one more over here. That looks lovely. What is that? Again, root system popping out the bottom there. You can see that. What is that? One of my CC jigsaw brains. A lovely super hot of mine, one that I've been breeding for a little while now. And that is looking just gorgeous. I am going to have to keep the heating on a little bit in Little Chump, but I haven't got it on too strong. The temperatures are dipping quite low these days, but I think in about a week's time, 10 days at the most, we will be in a much better position. Got loads of flowers coming through. That's also another indicator that it's time to pot up when your plants start pushing out flowers. That's not a good thing. We've got some fruit coming through there. In between me potting up, doing all the stuff I was doing out in Big Chump, I got an email where somebody was asking about some bumps they saw on their plants. So when you get these little like hard kind of bumps on your leaves, that's a good indicator that you're getting close to the point that your VPD is probably way too low and you need to dry things up a bit. The bumps are edema, so it's an indication of overwatering. Again, there's so many different things that you've got to take into consideration. I can say it's overwatering, but it's not always the case. What it actually means is that the plant is taking up more in its roots than it can let go through its leaves through transpiration. A big part of that is VPD. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, if you do see those little bumps, that's a good indicator you need to do something about it. Another one is little roots popping out above the soil. That's another indicator that things are a little bit too moist in your environment. So a fan at the very least, but even better is reduce that humidity a bit. There we go. Let's take a look at some of the other stuff going on in here. These are my marigolds. I need a bit of water, it's quite light. These are my marigolds to attract these little beauties. That's a baby that's transitioning. It's a ladybug. But the French marigolds, they do a fantastic job in attracting hoverflies, which are even better than ladybugs for taking care of aphids and other pests. Got my corn starting over here. Got one up over there. One shoot. Oh, there's another one there. There's a few coming up. So by tomorrow, I'm sure we'll have plenty coming through. It's only been a few days. I think I planted them on Friday. And these are my gem squashes. I've got another tray of corn down there. And then this here is to start my hydroponics lettuce. Got a few coming through, so lettuce and spinach. And that's just to develop the root system to get long enough so that I can then push it over to my NFT system. Because I don't know if you remember last year, I used this to great effect. I actually had 4 channels here. You can see the other 2 down there. I didn't need 4. It was way too much. We couldn't keep up with it. So we've got just 2 channels this time around. But these little baskets, the root system needs to touch the bottom of the channel. And if you look in there, you can see there's a little bit of a gap. So those root systems need to develop a little bit, which is what that's for. And we'll just keep a cycle going of lettuce starting over there. We've also got some basil and other things. But then we'll just move it over here, start some more seeds, and there you go. So I was just finishing up, walking past here, and I noticed I have a fruit coming through. Is this a super hot? I'm guessing it is. Let me have a look. It's a chocolate warthog. How the heck am I getting fruit already? That's insane. But yeah, we have some fruit coming through on my chocolate warthogs. Okay, that's very keen to grow. Wow. I need to feed these up. Okay, let's get out of here. So I mentioned I tidied up in here as well. That was a job. So obviously we pulled out all the hydrogen, the clay pebbles. Still need to clean these and those and the other buckets of them. Replaced all the filters here. So that's one part of this system that's making me rethink using the system. Here's the old filters. If I have to replace these every year, that's going to be a problem. These are like £4 each. 36 buckets, yeah, that adds up. I don't have this problem with my own ebb and flood system that I built. Because of the way I built it, it just works great. But no, this works well. This it grows amazing plants. It's just the maintenance is quite a bit more than my other system. But then again, I am running 36 pots here. The other one I'm going to be running 6 pots. So there's a difference in scale, I guess. But at the moment, all I'm doing is I'm running plain water through the buckets. Just running the cycles as I would normally, but just no nutrients, and that should hopefully clean out any grime that might be inside the pipes. I'm using my filter that I did a video on. I will link it above if you want, but this does fantastically. Catches all the rubbish that comes back from the drain cycle, and yeah, we've emptied out quite a lot of gunk from there. But soon we'll be ready to get the hydroponics plants in here as well. Looks like Mrs. ChilliChump is finishing up her jobs as well. But here we go with our tray of future beasts. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to be packing up and putting things away. I think Mrs. ChilliChump is as well. Yeah, I'm going to put these away, but thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Just a quick one, seeing what I get up to at this time of the season. Things are going to start getting incredibly busy very, very quickly, and I cannot wait. Anyway, until the next one, thank you so much for watching, and stay spicy.